February 2011 Care for cows in Vrindavan. February 2011 Vrindavan Urbanization SEO Gaur report. The cow who saved herself. Care for cows in Vrindavana. CFC trustees Kurma Rupa Dasa Hansarupa Dasa Vra Mohan Dasa Hrivalabha Dasa Radha Govinda Dasa Amit Dulani. Patrons Mahanadi Swami Maharaja. CFC staff Kasina Sudana Dasa Bra Gopal Dasa Swits Puri Maharaja Radhapati Dasa Laxmi Rupa Dasi Denmark Siam Hari Vij Ravi Sukumar Santosh Te Prakash Ajit. Editor Kurma Rupa Dasa. Care for cows in Vrindavana is inspired by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Akriya International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Dear friends, after 10 years our Sundrak facility is closed. Many thanks to Rupa Raghunath and Radhajivan Prabhas for allowing us to use their property in the service of abandoned cows. Our herd has been moved safely to Seogao and Kikinagla, and plans are in effect to develop proper sheds in both places. Our facility in Belvan stands poised to accommodate more as well. What is lacking is a facility closer to town to host and treat injured cows. We hope to establish a clinic near Akshaya Patra in the near future. The sad fact is, however, that Vrindavan is becoming urbanized at an alarming rate, and this translates as hostility towards cows owing to changing values, toxic litter, traffic and apathy. Hundreds of billboards boldly and proudly promise more of the same. Each of us must do our part to preserve Vrindavan. We may not be able to stop the change, but we must at least not participate in it. Be part of the solution, not part of the problem. Jaya Shri Guru, Jaya Shri Gopala, Jaya Shri Gomata. Care for Cows. Care for Cows in Vrindavan is a charitable trust registered in India, USA, and Switzerland. The CFC staff help. What Vrindavan means. Vrindavan urbanization for cows. Most of today's affluent pilgrims come from North India's flourishing urban areas and are of course accustomed to or aspiring for a modern Western lifestyle. They come to this holy place to enjoy a holy day and bring with them their newly acquired tastes for Bollywood music, designer hip hugger jeans, electronic gizmos, fast cars, fast foods and fast money. The indulgence of Saturday and Sunday's pilgrims invariably ends up on Monday's streets as above. Convenience no longer permits clay cups and leaf plates. They have yielded to their plastic and styrofoam counterparts. All of this makes for an alarmingly unhealthy atmosphere for abandoned cows. While plowing oxen have largely been replaced by tractors, many still transport construction materials by cart, competing for space with bicycles, rickshaws, motorbikes, three-wheelers and a variety of autos. They remain surprisingly composed amidst the regular street chaos and pandemonium. At one of Vrindavan's most crowded crossroads, people who still have a tinge of respect for cows offer them a pea plate of grass or spinach by tossing it in the congested streets, subjecting them to danger while attempting to serve them. Directly above, a new luxury hotel hosts weekenders with modern conveyances and treat uninvited guests, right, with their remnants free of cost. Left and above left, abandoned cows live disoriented lives deprived of their natural habitat. The same conditions await those who inflict the injustice upon them. Overleaf. Hundreds of billboards loudly promise an increase in urbanization. SEO Gaur report. In October 2010 we moved 79 cows and bulls to an area near SEO Gaur, which is approximately 10 kilometers from Deeg in Rajasthan. There are several Gosevaks developing this area for cow protection. Among them is the well-known Dasaranand Maharaja, who is providing for several 100,000 cows in Rajasthan. Other cow protectors assisting him in this project are Rajendra Dasa Maharaja, Vrindavan, Devendra Maharaja, Chandra Segarovara, Ananda Gopal Maharaja, Kosi, Giri Baba, Varsana, Haribal Baba, Varsana, and Sriman Rakataji, Hyper. The above Gosevaks have acquired more than 40 acres. Gwalas happily pose while performing their chores, which is bordered by 2,400 acres of hills which the cows can graze on. Fencing and construction are underway, and I can attest to the fact that the cows are well cared for. Farmers in this area grow wheat from October to March, and the rest of the year the fields are not planted, so for 6 months of the year the cows can wander freely throughout the entire area. In the valleys between the hills the villagers grow wheat and barley. All the hay from this area will go for feeding the cows being kept here, which at present number 600. The atmosphere is serene in this remote area. No traffic or loudspeakers can be heard. There are peacocks and other birds living among the deer and nilgai. There are several wells bored through the rocky soil which provide the herd their needs. Plans are in effect to divide the cows into herds of 200 and assigning one crew of gualas for each individual herd. In this way they can be better attended to. 2 cows await their calves and the milkman one of the adjacent wheat fields spacious feeding pens with fresh air and sky center. Maharani, the former leader of the herd at CFC Siami, suffered a broken leg after being hit by a car and is healthy and happy here. Ramya was rescued from the streets of Vrindavan emaciated and weak. Geeta was sent to us from Radhakund and has a large hernia, but is otherwise healthy. Looking at the camera is Bhima, son of the famous blind cow Suradasi. January 1, 2009 by Deb. What you have done is who you are. What you do is who you will be. That's the quote my yoga instructor started today's class with. I don't know who originally said it, and in many ways it ties in with the story I want to tell today about one cow by the name of Heidi. Heidi was born in Florida on a dairy farm. The farmer didn't see enough profit in selling the babies for veal, so he would put the newborn calves into trenches and shoot them. Heidi was spared that fate only because a couple farmers from Virginia had come to visit the Florida farmer to give him information on goat dairy farming. In payment, Heidi was given to these farmers to be slaughtered for meat once she had grown up. Heidi went to a small farm in Virginia that was a hobby rather than an occupation. These hobby farmers made a clear distinction between the animals they grew attached to and those they would kill for profit or convenience. They were running a goat dairy, after all, and the baby goats get killed just as surely as the baby cows do on a cow dairy farm. And so Heidi lived there for her first year. When she was deemed large enough to fetch a profit at slaughter, the slaughter truck was called to pick her up, but Heidi refused to get on it. The farmers and the truck driver gave up, and the slaughter truck left without Heidi. Heidi lived, but the farmers of that small little hobby farm hadn't given up their determination to kill Heidi. The next time they called the slaughter truck, they were prepared. They'd closed Heidi into a barn and backed the truck right up to the doors. The only way out was onto the truck, and there is no way that those farmers would have been gentle in their persuasion. Heidi broke out of that barn by jumping through a window. Heidi wasn't quite safe yet, however. The farmer's next plan was to slaughter her on the property. Talk about people determined to cause death. One of their co-workers, remember, this farm was just a hobby for them, heard about Heidi and somehow convinced the farmers to let her purchase Heidi so she could find a place for Heidi to live out her life. When she called Poplar Spring Animal Sanctuary, she was getting desperate. Terry and Dave would have one chance to bring Heidi home. They arrived at night with their trailer. Heidi was out in the field. You'll never get her on the truck, the farmer stated. Terry, the cow who saved herself, didn't agree. And Terry was right. She had the farmer stay away from the trailer, away from the pasture where Heidi was. They got the trailer ready, and they called to Heidi. Heidi came right over and walked calmly onto the trailer. She knew, somehow, that these were people who would do her no harm, who were there to save her and take her home. That is the story of how Heidi saved herself. That aspect of Heidi defines her to a great deal. Knowing her story, it is impossible to look at her and not feel a sense of awe and amazement. I doubt anyone meeting her now would guess at her hidden depths, at least not of the jumping out the window to save herself variety. Yet, it isn't surprising to learn that she's showing those depths in different ways now. Heidi, the cow who saved herself, is what she did. It is who she is. Heidi, the cow who looks after Emily, the blind calf, is what she does now. It is who she is becoming. Emily was born on a small local beef farm. She was apparently blind from birth, and this, in the end, saved her life. Of course, it almost killed her first. On these small beef farms, the cows are out in the pastures grazing day in and day out. The breeding females are gotten pregnant pretty much every year, and their babies are killed at about 18 months old. Until then, the mothers and babies are together. The farmers don't put much effort into caring for these cows. It is likely they are doing this for tax reasons as much as anything. Suburb of DC, hello agricultural tax incentive. So for their few head of cattle, they go for the minimal effort. In the cold icy February 2 years ago, Emily was in the field with her mother, but they somehow got separated. Emily was stuck in some ice, and the employees on this farm noticed and told the farmer. He reacted in a way that is both shocking and unsurprising. Let her die was essentially what he said. This upset one of the workers, especially as Emily and her mother were calling back and forth to each other. Emily was not only trapped in some ice, but she was somehow on the wrong side of a fence. The worker was able to free Emily from the ice. Emily was sick by then, and it was finally clear to the worker and the farmer that she was blind as well. The farmer wanted nothing to do with this sickly blind calf, and he certainly didn't want her taking up space in his barn. The worker knew of Poplar Spring Animal Sanctuary because she'd brought a chicken there once upon a time, and so she called the sanctuary to see if Emily could find a home. Emily was 4 months old when she came to Poplar Spring, and she was very wary of humans. It was quite a while, and only with the influence of apples, before she would let anyone but Dave and Terry, and some of the regular weekday workers as well, approach her. As is typical with cows, Emily was accepted into the herd immediately. Yet Emily was a bit independent. She'd get lost in the woods. She'd be down by the creek on her own. Likely this is how she got separated from her mother in the first place. She is actually quite good at following and finding the cows, to a certain degree, using the secondary senses of sound and smell to guide her way. She has no fear. However, having a blind cow potentially lost in the wooded areas of the 400-acre property made for some stressful and sleepless nights for the human caretakers of the sanctuary. Terry looked into GPS collars and was able to raise the money for a couple. There's a blind horse at the sanctuary as well, and though he is much more cautious and much less independent than Emily, and though he has a partner who wears a bebelled halter so that he can hear her as she moves, there is still the worry. GPS collars seemed a good idea. And they were, but unfortunately they were also no longer made, which Terry found out months after she ordered them, and had her money refunded. A couple of us researched with our best search term skills and couldn't find anything workable for this purpose. And so time marched on. Emily adapted more and more, and though she still got separated from the herd, it was getting more predictable. The worry was still there, but so was the confidence that Emily did know how to take care of herself. A GPS collar would have made it easier to check up on Emily, but everyone adapted to the reality, which did not include such a collar. Enter Heidi. In recent months, Heidi has decided that she is the surrogate mama for Emily. Or maybe not a mother, really, but big sister or mentor of some kind. Emily is stubborn, but of course we know that Heidi has a determined personality. When Emily hangs out near, and sometimes in, the pig barn, and the cows are beginning to move off, Heidi comes back for Emily and moos at her imperiously. Naturally Emily, being Emily, tries to ignore the summons. Eventually, though, Heidi is able to convince Emily to follow her. Ever since Heidi has taken on this new role, Emily has not gotten lost. Emily has not gotten separated, other than to the extent that she insists on by her not quite as social as average nature, and Emily is now able to stay with the cows as they wander the whole 400 acres. Emily, as it turns out, does not need a GPS collar. She has Heidi. New calves. Only one calf was born this month. She is the second calf born to Saki and is healthy and happy. She has been named Kalindi and sponsored by Sandipani Muni and Kanchan from United Kingdom. Saki Kalindi Abdhram Adasa Amit Goswami Anjaneya Dasa Anapali Kuka Anonymous Ariel Telford Bhakta Vidya Sagar Karl Stella Herzog Chandriska Pasupati Charles Power Christian Kastner De Cesarmal Deepak Vishvakarma Derek Carol Devala Dasa Devananda Pundit Dasa Devender Kumar Dhruva Maharaja Dasa Dmitras German of Stoyal Govinda Dasa Elena Emilenko Elena Nikafravin Virajanovic Gorangapriya Dasi Han Savatar Yogamaya Harinam Anand Dasa Irina Lukyanenko Jagana Thrauj Simon Kamala Melzik Kantilal Shivlal Kitri Waterman Krishna Priyadasi Krishnara Varma Bengali Eleni Topfer Family Madhava Priyadasi Mandira Mani Shri Govinda Maria Larina Markli Mary Louise Valerio Nalini Gagarnayan Rupareli NK Padyachi Padma Inc. Padalnu Irina Make house stay in front of me. Make house stay behind me. Make house stay on both sides of me. May I always reside in the midst of cows. Hari Bhakti Vila 16.252. The cows send their heartfelt thanks to those who assisted during January 2011. Thank you from the cows Radhika Mripali Rahul Sharma Ravi Gopal Rohina Sudha Dasa Rose Boko S. Partha Sarathi Sandipani Muni Sergi Vasiliv Shanti Green Shirley Marie Bradby Smruta Sawardkar Shrado Rakamar Swada Ajanovic Tomash Zulanik Tracy Melina Venkata Venkateswaran Vij Sharma Vikas Shah Vladimir Ivanov Vladimir Shlepkov Vyasa Pada Dasa William Hyler Yanavolkya Dasa